Down the hall, our MC hears someone call his name in the middle of school. Without showing a shred of emotion, he answers the girl, keeping his unshakable belief system intact. Flashing back to elementary school, the kid had already racked up about 20 rejections. On the playground, the reasons for all the times he got shot down were flying all over the place inside his head. With his soul crushed by women, our little MC had no idea how to deal with it anymore. Having lost all his confidence, the boy locked himself in his room and invented an imaginary friend to ask for advice. Named Jason, this voice in his head became the kid's ultimate guru. In a stroke of genius, this Jason guy told him to see all the girls in the world as nothing more than simple rocks. Repeating this idea like a broken record, the kid trained his own mind nonstop for years. When puberty hit, the magic finally happened, and in his eyes, all the girls turned into boulders in skirts. Back in the present, our MC listens to the rest of the conversation in the classroom. Laying on that useless charm, the rock girl asks the kid to study with her after school. Focused on his golden rule of never thinking a girl is hitting on him just because she smiles, the kid keeps his cool composure. Shattering the illusion on the spot, he says he's busy and brushes the girl off so he doesn't get hurt again. Pumping some heavy iron in his mental gym, his imaginary friend approves of our hero's move. Walking calmly down the hall, the MC realizes that dealing with girls has become the easiest thing in the world. With no feelings to get in the way, he can chat with the rocks just fine. Asking his mental partner if he did a good job, our boy continues on his way. Agreeing instantly, the imaginary gym bro says the strategy is absolutely perfect. However, the muscle-bound dude confesses he's afraid the kid will end up kicking the bucket all alone this way. Firing right back, the MC reminds him they both gave up on that romance life ages ago. Preferring his peace of mind 1,000 times over, the boy admits he doesn't even think about dating anymore after almost 5 years of living like this. Just then, while Jason is saying that what matters is being cool with it, a girl walks by and picks up a phone from the ground. Immediately grabbing our boy's attention, she tries to get his attention and shows the phone to him, telling him he dropped his device. She asks in a sweet voice if it was his. Getting a massive shock, our boy freezes in the middle of the street like he's just seen a ghost. Frying every single one of his brain cells, the kid wonders what the heck is happening right in front of him. Staring at the girl's beautiful face, he panics, wondering why on earth she doesn't have a rock face. Realizing how much trouble he's in, our MC internally freaks out at seeing a normal female face after so long. Trying to keep his cool by any means necessary, he desperately looks for a way out to avoid embarrassing himself. Finding the kid's bizarre silence weird, the brunette asks why he doesn't just answer her. Breaking out in a cold sweat and stuttering, our boy tries to justify his brain malfunction, thinking he's just out of practice. Completely losing his filter, he ends up blurting out that the girl is way too pretty. Left totally speechless, the girl lets out a confused mumble at the out-of-the-blue compliment. Thanking him a bit awkwardly, she tries to process what just happened while the kid is already planning his escape. Shooting off like a rocket, our MC apologizes as he runs down the sidewalk without looking back. Watching the weirdo disappear from sight, the girl reads his name on his uniform and wonders what just went down. Running like a madman, the boy calls himself an idiot for opening his big mouth. Beating himself up for calling a total stranger beautiful to her face, he can't believe his own screw-up. Imagining the worst-case scenario, our little MC starts to panic, thinking the gossip is going to spread through the entire school. Popping up in the room again, the mental gym bro confesses he thought the kid's move was actually pretty smooth. Lying on his bedroom floor, the boy hears Jason tell him not to be so hard on himself. Pondering the great mystery, the MC tries to understand why only that blessed one managed to get past his rock filter. Confessing he has absolutely no idea what the answer is, his swole friend asks what the next step is gonna be. Weighing the risks, the boy realizes that if he just lets the situation go, weird rumors are going to fly. Having horrible flashbacks to elementary school, he remembers a little brat saying his crush on her was disgusting. Mourning the incident, his imaginary partner cries over the fact that all that intense mental training failed so spectacularly. Getting totally down in the dumps, our protagonist collapses on the floor, swearing his life is ruined forever. Suddenly, the image of the girl's beautiful face pops into his head, but Jason immediately shows up and lands a punch on it. Feeling his head fry from the pain, the MC tries to focus on urgently cooking up a contingency plan. Suggesting the old tactic of cowardice, his mental friend says the solution is to simply avoid the girl. Agreeing with the idea, the boy remembers she's in a different class, so the chances of bumping into her are low. Walking calmly to school the next day, our boy truly believes the problem is solved. But coming face to face with the girl in question first thing in the morning, the brunette immediately starts teasing him, asking if he recognizes her. Freezing up completely on the spot, the MC feels his world come crashing down right there in the school hallway. Begging his imaginary friend for help in tears, he gets the instruction to act natural and be normal. Noticing other students whispering in the background, our kid decides to treat the brunette exactly like he treats the rocks. But the girl perfectly remembers him calling her pretty the day before. Recalling the bizarre scene on the street, she confesses to her friends that she was super startled at the time too. With pure sass, the brunette asks straight to his face if she's pretty again today. Turning as pale as a ghost, the kid hears the girl laugh at the shocked look on his face. Without a second thought, our MC fires up his engines and takes off flying again, leaving the girl talking to herself. Praising the tactical retreat, the mental gym bro warns that if he had stayed there, the humiliation would have been way too heavy. Hurrying down the hall, the boy is absolutely certain that her little laugh was all about making fun of him. Clipping his own wings, our little MC forbids himself from thinking the girl might actually be interested in him. With fire in his eyes, the boy swears he will never, ever cross this girl's path again for the rest of his life. However, fate loves to mess with our MC, and his perfect escape plan sinks on the spot. Standing out ridiculously in the middle of the crowded courtyard, the brunette shines while all the other female students look like concrete blocks. Waving with a big smile when she spots the kid, the girl forces our boy to turn his head at the speed of light. Getting through the next few days like a true ninja, the boy starts dodging the brunette in every possible corner of the school. Sliding along the walls whenever she appears from a distance, he does everything he can to avoid any eye contact. Getting visibly annoyed by being ghosted so much, the girl doesn't get what this weirdo's deal is, always running away from her. Taking a deep breath at the end of the afternoon, our boy celebrates surviving another full day without falling into the brunette's clutches. Tired of all the running, the MC decides to go home and come up with a new plan. With a sigh, his mind tries to understand how everything got to this point. Out of nowhere, the girl appears behind him with a deafening scream. Startled by the noise, our boy jumps away while the brunette laughs at the situation. Total panic takes over the kid, who wonders why the universe is always pushing the two of them together. Straight and to the point, the girl immediately throws it in his face, asking if the runaway is going to bolt again. Visibly irritated, she lists the kid's slip-ups, from ghosting her to his desperate escapes. With a sad little face, the brunette gets real and asks if he has some kind of problem with her. Completely frozen, our hero hears the girl call his attitude super weird. Trapped in this giant misunderstanding, the boy tries to formulate an excuse. Nervous down to his soul, our little MC stutters as he tries to justify his bizarre behavior. Pinned down in the middle of the sidewalk, his brain fries in search of any convincing lie. In a blind impulse, the crazy guy blurts out that all girls look like rocks, except for the blessed one right in front of him. At that very moment, his imaginary friend becomes aware of the colossal screw-up that just happened. The girl cracks a giant smile as she processes the accidental pickup line. Curious about the situation, the brunette finally strikes up a conversation and learns our boy's name. Getting real close, the girl repeats the MC's name and says she has a little secret to tell him. Right in the guy's ear, she lays on the charm thick and declares that what he said before was pure flirting. Paralyzed by the surprise attack, the kid turns into a literal pillar of salt on the sidewalk. Old memories bring back the golden advice from the imaginary gym bro, straight from the bottom of the barrel. By breaking the first sacred rule of treating women like rocks, his mental training completely crumbled. With his heart racing a mile a minute, the second rule of not getting his hopes up also goes tumbling downhill. Pains in his chest show that his ultimate shield was mercilessly obliterated by the brunette. Delusions take over the boy's mind, as he imagines a future with marriage and even kids with the hottie. Snapping him out of his daydream, his mental partner sends a good smack to wake the boy up to reality. Hoping to justify himself, our hero mumbles that seeing a pretty female face broke his entire system. Defeated by the circumstances, he admits the escape tactic failed and begs for some urgent guidance. Playing the wise guru again, the muscle-bound dude advises that in emergency cases, the rule is to have a fixed objective. Right after, the master explains that the rock tactic was meant to prevent any spark of passion. Once he was cold and calculating, the invisible protection kept his heart from getting trampled in the end. But the arrival of this immune girl completely disabled his mental armor, bringing chaos. With no natural immunity, the poor guy's brain went into meltdown right away upon facing her beauty. Faced with imminent danger, his mental friend warns that the suffering will return if they don't change their tactic. Pointing a thumb, the counselor demands that the only viable way out is to learn how to keep his composure. Focused on the gym bro's wisdom, our hero jots down the survival plan without blinking an eye. Back at school, the brunette strolls down the hall under the protagonist's fixed and intense gaze. Paying attention to details, the girl's friend comments with a scare that the kid has a total psycho stare. Put into practice, the desensitization goes wrong, and Jason notices the crazy look is freaking out the school. To save the plan for good, his partner suggests at least a little smile to break the tense mood. Trying his best, the boy forces a sinister smile onto his face that looks like a surefire death threat. Genuinely scared, the brunette freezes on the spot at that bizarre expression aimed at her. However, her classmate freaks out with excitement, believing the smile was a major come-on. Suspicious of his attitude, the girl doesn't understand why the guy is being so blatant with his staring. Breaking out in a cold sweat, our MC blindly trusts that the distance is hiding his desperation while watching her. Guiding a silent retreat, the master tells him to get out of there before the weirdo rumors start. Intrigued by his sudden disappearance, the girl watches the kid vanish around the corner of the hallway. Excited by the news, her friend spills the valuable gossip that our MC is a hot commodity around here. Spilling all the tea, the classmate talks about the numerous painful rejections that several girls got from him. Shocked by his icy reputation, the brunette's curiosity about the weirdo hits absurd peaks. Solving the puzzle, the class gossip declares that his isolated way of being is what intrigues the girls the most. Getting straight to the interrogation, her partner asks if her friend has fallen for him because of the stares. Sly by nature, the girl gives a little smirk and does a great job of hiding her own intentions. Flashbacks of their awkward flirting rush through the girl's mind, remembering their magical encounter at sunset. With mischievous plans in her head, she confesses that his disastrous pickup line really stuck with her. At the classroom door, our hero summons the big guy from his mind, needing a reality check. Analyzing the facts coldly, the boy explains that the plan to stare at her in person is a total bust. Presenting solid arguments, he notes that this kind of stalking will get him a criminal complaint real quick. Aware of his own limits, the boy declares that acting like a stalker will send his reputation straight to the trash. Agreeing with the brilliant reasoning, his mental friend confesses that the plan bordered on psychopathy. A moment of pure clarity hits the MC, suggesting he get the hottie's social media to stalk her in secret. Celebrating the brilliant idea, the muscle-bound dude tells the boy to man up and ask for her contact info. Overcome by nervousness, the protagonist swallows his tears, accepting that snooping on someone's profile is a coward's move. Nearly fainting in the middle of the hall, he blocks the brunette's path, casually asking for her Instagram. Surprised by the direct approach, the girl beams with satisfaction at the shy guy's excessive courage. Accepting without any fuss, she says she'll give him her handle and excitedly pulls out her device. Handing over his own unlocked phone, the MC puts the screen in the hands of the profile's owner. Typing in the letters, the girl starts the search while the boy prays he doesn't embarrass himself again. A few seconds of confusion unfold, and the girl makes a sound like she can't believe what she's seeing. Right there on the app, the MC's brand new account shines, featuring an incredible 0 posts. Smirking, the girl confronts the weirdo, asking if he made it just to be able to talk to her. Forcing a serious expression, he tries to play it cool, claiming he made it quickly just because he hates cell phones. The girl's loud laughter echoes off the walls, leaving our hero completely lost and confused. Connecting all the dots, the girl finds the cute dedication of the improvised stalker absolutely hilarious. Unable to understand a single thing, our protagonist stares at the scene like a plaster statue. With a violent jolt, it finally clicks, and the boy realizes the embarrassing confession he just handed her on a silver platter. Amidst much laughter, the girl finds the situation hilarious, while the kid regrets acting without thinking. Total panic takes over the protagonist, who calls for his mental partner, swearing his life is over. Shaking in his boots, he tries to make a lame excuse that his weirdo side got out of control. Faced with this comical situation, the brunette just flashes a radiant smile. Willing to follow him back, she returns the phone but leaves a little suspense in the air. Showing her own device with her number on the screen, the hottie asks straight up if he doesn't want her contact info instead. Taking a playful punch to the shoulder, the boy hears her say it was just a joke because his reactions are just too good. With the phone handed back, the girl confirms she's already followed him back and tells him to take his device. Turning her back, the brunette tells him to enjoy her posts and walks away. Frozen in the middle of the hall, our hero stands in silence, trying to process the hurricane that just passed through. Once again, the crazy guy's imagination runs wild, even creating a wedding scene with the girl of his dreams. Quickly cutting off the delusion, he slaps his own head, telling that romantic movie to stop playing. Lying in bed in the middle of the night, the kid stares intently at his phone screen. Giggling to herself in her own room, the girl finds something she just saw on the app very funny. Snooping on the guy's profile, she sees the like notification and notices the brand new account is a complete desert. Under the covers, the boy kicks the air, mortified by his boldness in liking the photo. Registered on the screen, the boy's notification shines, showing that the secret mission was accomplished. Arriving at school, the class gossip freaks out when she discovers the ice boy asked for her friend's Instagram. Confirming the story, the brunette brags that the guy created the account just so he could follow her. Full of curiosity, her classmate changes the subject and asks something very specific. Straight to the point, the girl wants to know if it's true that the protagonist really doesn't care about any women. Being super sharp, the hottie realizes the kid only loses his composure when he's near her. With a mischievous plan in mind, the brunette suggests testing the theory right there in front of everyone. Walking calmly down the hall, our MC hears a noise and stops suddenly. Faking a super dramatic fall, her classmate throws herself on the floor, surrounded by a delicate atmosphere. Pouting, the wannabe actress mumbles that she's badly hurt, waiting for her Prince Charming to help. Cold as a stone, our hero stares at the fallen girl with the most neutral expression in the universe. Pulling the girl up by her hood like a sack of potatoes, he lifts the poor thing while making a disgusted sound. Startled by his brutality, the gossip gets a scare while the guy simply walks away without looking back. Cracking up, the brunette cries with laughter, saying he yanked her friend off the ground just like a turnip. Super ticked off, the friend calls the boy trash, muttering some not-so-friendly words. Far from the school, the kid wonders if he's finally gotten used to the brunette's face. Suddenly, a shiver runs up his spine and he gets a scare in the middle of the street. Looking at the hottie's photo on his phone screen, he realizes his heart speeds up just the same every time he sees her. Summoned from the depths of his mind, his gym bro partner decrees that they need to find out the real reason for this bug. Lost in thought, the protagonist tries to understand the mystery of her being the only one immune to his filter. Stopping in his tracks, he starts coughing while forming a bunch of crazy theories. Glancing further ahead, our hero spots the source of all his problems standing on the sidewalk. Jumping with a start, he hears the girl call his name as naturally as can be. Instantly breaking into a cold sweat, the boy murmurs a lament, knowing his piece is over once again. Straight up, the girl gets real and says she needs to catch a bus but is completely broke. Asking the hottie where she's headed, he finds out she lives in a condo complex in the area. Calculating the route, the kid tells her she can easily walk there and doesn't understand the fuss. Being all dramatic, the brunette makes up that she has chronic anemia and can't take another step. Desperate, the MC pulls out his wallet and offers all the money he has for her to take the bus and disappear. Slapping his hand away, the girl refuses the cash and demands the guy walk her home. Taking the lead, the girl starts walking, leaving the poor guy with no choice but to follow. Shocked by her audacity, the kid can barely process that he was just roped into a disguised date. Soon, the sun begins to set, painting the sky orange as the two walk together. Side by side on the sidewalk, the brunette talks nonstop, chattering about whatever comes to mind. Extremely nervous, our hero doesn't absorb a single word of what she's saying. Demanding his attention, the hottie asks if he's listening while the boy is freaking out over their sudden proximity. Sweating bullets, the protagonist decrees in his own mind that this is the most uncomfortable situation of his life. Flashing back in time, a cruel memory invades his head, reminding him of another girl who shared the same route. Back then, the brats at school were already gossiping, pointing fingers at the two of them walking together. Desperately denying everything, the child version of our MC shouted to the heavens that they were not dating. But the brat from the memory was way too cruel, saying she would never date a kid like him. From that day on, the girl changed her route, and our boy was left traumatized before he could even confess his feelings. Sighing heavily, the guy just wants this torture to end quickly so he doesn't repeat the past. Wishing for the best, he trusts that the brunette usually takes the bus, so this nightmare shouldn't become a routine. Showing pure exhaustion, our hero's face reveals that his social battery is completely drained. Suddenly, the girl collapses on the curb, desperately gasping for air as if she just ran a marathon. Panicking, the kid rushes over, wanting to know if she tripped on something. Pointing to the giant hill in front of them, the brunette uses the chronic anemia card to justify her weakness. Extending her helpless little hand, she asks for a little boost to get up from the ground. Being way too kind, the protagonist helps the supposedly sick girl up with the utmost care. With his face burning with embarrassment, he internally fries upon realizing he's walking hand in hand with the hottie. Glancing at the boy from the side, the girl keeps her breathing heavy but can't hide a certain sparkle in her eyes. Remembering what happened earlier at school, the boy's mind pulls up the image of how he treated the other student. Without a single drop of pity, he had lifted the gossip by the scruff of her neck with the brutality of a horse. Finding the difference in treatment wonderful, the brunette lets out a sweet little giggle, covering her mouth. Throwing his double standards in his face, she comments about the human turnip while the kid pretends to be clueless. Finally arriving at their destination, our MC announces that the escort duty is over and gives a super dry goodbye. Happy with the help, the girl waves from a distance, and the boy mentally celebrates the end of the mission. Turning his back and going on his way, the boy mutters to himself that that was the most tense moment of his day. In relief, our hero thanks the heavens, swearing this nightmare won't repeat itself tomorrow. On a peaceful walk down the empty street, he enjoys his own peace far from his problems. Directly in his own mind, the kid prays for his fertile imagination to stop cooking up absurd scenarios. Just then, the brunette lets out a sudden murmur right behind him, breaking the silence. With a mischievous smile on her face, the girl announces that she almost forgot a very important detail. With a scandalous shout of the protagonist's name, she makes the poor guy jump out of his skin on the sidewalk. Startled as he spins around, the boy hears her announce that her allowance is going to be late. Full of charm, the hottie declares that tomorrow, he's going to be her bank and her escort again. Exhausted, our MC runs like a madman in an attempt to escape this torturous obligation. Soon, his gym bro partner appears in his mind, ignoring his desperation and posing a mysterious question. The memory of that bizarre psycho's smile comes back strong, and the big guy doesn't let the slip-up go. Certain he's going to die from pure embarrassment, the kid collapses to his knees on the street. Cut to the next day, and the brunette arrives panting, completely out of breath next to the boy. Worried about the girl's fragile health, he tells her to sit down and breathe immediately. Back in the past, the gossip friend practices low kicks, swearing brutal revenge against the protagonist. In the mental debate, the shirtless, muscle-bound dude tries to decipher the mystery of the hottie's immunity. In his room, the kid fries his brain cells, searching for reasons why this girl breaks through his anti-woman barrier. Posing like a genius, his imaginary friend announces he has a very strong theory up his sleeve. Incredulous at the answer, the MC grumbles that he can't imagine any other plausible justification. With his backpack in hand, the boy cuts the chat short and says getting to school is priority number one now. At his bedroom door, he mentally prepares for another tense day of classes. On his way out of the living room, a deep voice asks if he's leaving already. Standing in the room, the boy's father makes an appearance in the early hours of the day. After a slightly awkward greeting, the kid just gets a nod from his old man. About breakfast, the hero says he was planning to skip the meal due to a lack of appetite. Aware of the fresh food in the pot, the boy promises to devour the plate when he gets back home. Faced with a basic dad lecture, the boy agrees to eat properly before disappearing. Outside the house, the kid shuts the door and finally heads off towards school hell. Far from the school, he focuses on the building, mulling over his mental partner's crazy hypothesis. With no way out, the protagonist declares he has become the brunette's official doormat for the rest of the year. Hoping the theory fails miserably, he tries to get through the day clinging to any drop of faith. Right at the entrance, a scream calling his full name cuts the mood right in half. Standing firm in the hallway, the gossip awaits the guy with her arms crossed and fire in her eyes. Straight and to the point, the girl says in no uncertain terms that she's going to beat the crap out of the boy. Clueless, our hero doesn't understand the reason for this unprovoked aggression first thing in the morning. With a promise of pain, the crazy girl intimidates him, revealing her nightly training while the kid doesn't even remember her name. Full of rage, she remembers the humiliating episode of being yanked off the ground like a weed. In her mind, the girl relives the shameful scene and decides that forgiving this embarrassment is not an option. In an ironic tone, the psycho promises just 3 painful kicks to settle the outstanding debt. On full alert, the protagonist notices a strange movement in the back of the hall approaching fast. Out of nowhere, the brunette flies by like a lightning bolt, bumping into her friend and leaving the kid confused. Utterly confused, the gossip asks who the girl with the fake anemia is running from. Full of swagger, the girl takes off after the duo, showing off her fast and healthy legs. Right at the moment of attack, the girl turns into a literal giant rock with legs in the MC's crazy vision. In desperation, he feels like there's a killer boulder rolling straight towards him. In the fatal pounce, the human rock screams of certain victory against the poor four-eyed guy. With a rough push, the door opens and the brunette appears out of nowhere right in the middle of the mess. With no time to break, the gossip's flying kick lands squarely on her own friend's knee. In shock, the attacker's eyes go wide as she realizes the colossal disaster she just caused. In a lot of pain, the hottie collapses to the floor, feeling her ankle turn to mush in the middle of the school. With a front row seat, the boy can hardly believe the level of chaos that just unfolded in a matter of seconds. Trying to help, the kid runs over but missteps right on a slipper left at the crime scene. Straight to the floor, the protagonist takes a cinematic fall, his lights going out on impact. With his nose smashed on the cold floor, the poor guy loses consciousness completely. Spared from the disaster, the gossip panics, surrounded by two bodies sprawled out in the hallway. Guilty down to her last hair, the girl cries, knowing she sent the duo to the medical department. Full of remorse, the attacker accompanies the victims to the infirmary, apologizing 1,000 times. Side by side on the white cots, the two patients rest after the public humiliation. Standing up, the boy hears the haughty comment on her troublemaking friend's chronic craziness. Alert to the danger, the MC calls his mental friend, realizing he's trapped in a room alone with the brunette. In the middle of a fancy tea time, his imaginary partner tells the guy to hold his emotions in check so he doesn't do something stupid. Tense, the boy prepares his mind and tries to focus on the silence to keep the peace. In a mental plea, the kid asks his own mouth to stay shut for the rest of the day. Breaking the ice, the girl turns to her side and strikes up a conversation about the wonderful food in the cafeteria. Right on the tip of his tongue, the boy guesses the main dish and gets an excited smile from the patient. Curious, the hottie investigates and pulls up the file on the hero's habit of skipping breakfast. In a sudden confession, he reveals his morning escape to avoid the awkward vibe with his dad in the living room. Faced with the brunette's family advice, an awkward laugh escapes the boy's mouth. Focused on the past, the boy remembers the first chaotic encounter he had with the long-haired beauty. In a mental rewind, the blunder of that desperate compliment in the middle of the sidewalk comes back with full force. After the mistake, he understands that her absurd beauty broke through his protective filter in the blink of an eye. Without blinking, the protagonist admits to himself that the hottie on the cot is a true spectacle. Aware of his fixed gaze on her, the brunette lays on the charm and asks if she's dazzling his vision. In a panic, the hero waves his hands, denying everything while she dies laughing at his shocked face. With his heart racing, the girl ends the joke, and the poor guy sweats bullets, apologizing 1,000 times. Not missing a beat, the girl laughs heartily and asks if he's messing with her. Stuttering horribly, the kid tries to explain himself and swears he was being dead serious. Noticing the nervousness, the MC's mind realizes the girl talks nonsense when she panics. With an apology, the brunette tries to backpedal but is immediately cut off by the boy. With a sweet smile, the hottie blurts out that she finds our hero quite cute. Completely speechless, the poor guy turns red as a beet and wonders if his mental partner was right. Soon, a flashback hits the screen, bringing back the gym bros' crazy theory about the mysterious girl. Straight to the point, the imaginary master decrees what the real explanation is behind this defense breach. According to the boy's mind, the only logical excuse for all of this is a classic case of love at first sight. Right into his teacup, the swole counselor stylishly states that there is no other possibility in the world. Together in the infirmary, a sudden romantic mood hangs loosely in the air between the two accident victims. Outside, the day goes on normally under the school sun, ignoring the chaos that's about to happen. Suddenly, the gossip freaks out of nowhere and grabs the kid's shirt, swearing it's payback time. Demanding responsibility for the physical damages, the psycho demands justice while the brunette tells her to let the guy go. Blind with rage, the troublemaker starts screaming and goes on a full-on attack, ignoring the warnings. With a perfect martial arts move, the crazy girl lands a solid kick right in the middle of the MC's stomach. Thrown against the wall by the brutal impact, the boy can barely understand where the blow came from. Back to reality, our hero fries his brain cells, strongly doubting this whole love-at-first-sight story. Looking deep into the hottie's eyes, he tries to find any shred of proof that the theory makes any sense. Just then, his quick imagination creates a cruel scene where she thinks he's a tremendous, deluded idiot. With a look of pure contempt, the imaginary version of the girl steps on the boy's poor ego without any mercy. With a violent jolt, the MC wakes up in a cold sweat in the middle of his own bed, wearing his pajamas. Relieved by the sight of his room, he realizes the humiliation was nothing more than a horrible nightmare and tries to breathe. Dressed for bed, his gym bro friend immediately notices the protagonist's shortness of breath. Scared, the kid immediately confesses he dreamed about the beautiful brunette, being utterly disgusted by the sight of him. Playing the on-call psychologist, the muscle-bound dude advises that his past traumas with girls are acting up again. Being brutally honest, the hero reveals that this exact cruel nightmare has been haunting his nights non-stop. Without taking the blame himself, he says the bad dreams started right after that blessed romantic theory. Rebutting the accusation, the master of the mind explains that this is just a symptom of a giant fear of unrequited love. Sitting firmly on the bed in front of the boy, the counselor decrees that the root of the whole problem is just cowardice. Focused on war strategies, the gym bro drops a truth bomb, saying that knowing your enemy well is the key to victory. Getting the message, the kid understands that the official plan now is to hunt down as much information as possible about the hottie. Excited about the new mission, he confesses he knows almost nothing about the girl's life and sets off in search of answers. Standing right in front of the door, our MC confirms by the sign that he has arrived in enemy territory. Sweating bullets from nervousness, the boy sneaks into the classroom while his partner tells him to control his shaking. With a quick scan of his eyes, our hero tries to discreetly locate his target in the middle of all that mess. Frustrated to see the chair empty, he quickly deduces the girl must have popped out to the restroom. Suddenly, a deep and intimidating voice completely breaks the MC's investigative concentration. Caught off guard by a chubby student with an unfriendly face, the kid discovers he's blocking the way. Apologizing 1,000 times, the protagonist jumps to the side, clearing the path for the big guy to pass. Popping up out of nowhere, his mental partner confesses that the smug look on that guy's face is just asking for a good punch. Putting the aggression aside, the boy swallows his pride and tries to get some clue about the hottie's whereabouts. Slouching down in the chair, the student sighs and comments that guys like him looking for her has become a boring routine. Full of swagger, the chubby guy throws it in his face that a bunch of little punks are always falling for girls like her. Shocked by the sharp vocabulary, our hero can't understand the reason for so much unprovoked disrespect. Completely freaking out, the imaginary muscle-bound dude pulls out a heavy machine gun, asking for immediate authorization to light up the jerk. With no patience for the voices in his head, the boy focuses on the real objective and seriously asks if the guy knows where she went or not. Arrogant to the core, the chubby guy scoffs, saying he's under no obligation to keep tabs on some flirty girl. Revolted by the unprovoked insult, the MC's voice deepens, and he tells the big guy to wash his mouth out before opening it to talk bad about the brunette. Laughing with pure disdain, the student notices that our hero has also fallen right into the girl's web. With his blood boiling in his veins, the boy tells the jerk to get out of the chair right now, no refusals allowed. Grumbling with laziness, the big guy obeys the order, muttering about the effort of standing up. Ready for a fight, the protagonist yanks his own jacket off with all his might in a surprise attack move. Unleashing his pent-up fury, the kid lays into the chubby guy with heavy whips from his uniform in the middle of the class. Right at the moment of the massacre, the chair's owner appears at the door, completely startled by the strange noises. Totally embarrassed by being caught, the boy smiles, hiding the cloth weapon while the victim sobs in the background. Getting straight to the gossip, the hero justifies the immediate beatdown by claiming the jerk had the nerve to call her flirty. Laughing at the whole situation, the hottie gives him the green light to continue the punishment and says the guy spouts nonsense like that all the time. Curious about her tolerance, our boy asks why on earth she lets a weirdo like that talk to her that way. Very casually, the brunette reveals she knows the character and that his annoying personality has been there since they were kids. With his pride destroyed, the crushed chubby guy announces to the world that they are childhood best friends. Feeling the weight of the misunderstanding, the protagonist offers a sincere apology, and the big guy tries to recover his wounded dignity. Now chilling on a bench in the courtyard, the boy takes advantage of the momentary peace to confirm the details of this super old friendship. Thinking fast, our hero sees a golden opportunity to extract all the hidden secrets about the hottie. Dropping a bombshell, the chubby guy gets real right away and tells the MC to give up on life if he wants something serious with the brunette. Badmouthing his friend, he explains that the girl's popularity level is something absurdly off the charts. However, the advisor cries a river warning that the number of guys who have managed to be with her is literally zero. Not too shaken, the kid agrees easily because he already figured there'd be this much attention from her 2,000 Instagram followers. Confident in his own deduction, the boy calmly assumes that the dozens of rejected guys just weren't her type. With a scowl and a deeper voice, the big guy warns that the stiff competition isn't the real reason for the red alert. In a quick jump to the past, a flashback lights up the screen showing the two of them as kids sharing their messes. Growing up in the same environment, the student says they were never apart and were regulars at the same schools for years. Until during the fateful elementary school era, the image of the girl walking away suggests that some ugly fight happened. A freeloader since he was a brat, the chubby guy remembers when he used to send his own friend to run to the cafeteria to buy him snacks. With a look loaded with tension, the informant's face perfectly shows that a sinister twist changed everything during that phase. Venting heavily, the chubby guy confesses that he started to feel a weird aura coming from his friend. According to him, her smile was still the same, but something deep down was totally different from normal. Keeping the tension in the air, the big guy warns that this strange feeling never went away. Finishing the chat, he reinforces his advice and tells the MC to give up on the idea before he gets hurt. Back in the school hallways, the boy processes the conversation while hearing a strange noise. Intrigued by the gossip, he mentally wonders what the heck this different aura is. Reaching a quick conclusion, the boy decides to ignore the warning, thinking it's just the chubby guy's paranoia. At that same instant, the two bump into the gossip and the brunette, who appear out of nowhere in the hall. Suspicious of the pair, the girl questions since when the two became best friends, walking around together. Breaking into a cold sweat, the informant tries to hide his shaking, and the MC already prepares an automatic excuse. In a moment of collective meltdown, the two shout at the same time that they were talking trash about her behind her back. Feeling his own soul leave his body, the boy can't believe his partner's extreme stupidity. Totally frozen, the hottie repeats the question with a very confused look about the bizarre confession. Trying to go back in time, the MC hopes he heard wrong, but the chubby guy gives the same answer again. Breaking into a cold sweat, the informant tries to hide his shaking, and the MC already prepares an automatic excuse. Repeating the blunder, the big guy reaffirms that yes, they were gossiping about the brunette like a couple of old ladies. Feeling like he could die right there, the hero doesn't understand what this weirdo's mental problem is. Genuinely offended, the girl's expression changes, and she asks if they were really talking about her. Cracking up, the gossip jumps in, laughing at the nerve of the two unlikely friends. Taking the heat, the chubby guy doesn't back down and says he tore the hottie apart from head to toe. Unable to take it anymore, the MC throws his jacket in the weirdo's face, telling him to shut his mouth for once. Intervening in the scene, the mental gym bro pulls out a large caliber weapon, asking for clearance to fire. Ignoring the bizarre fight, the two girls turn their backs and leave the weirdos arguing by themselves. Walking towards the exit, the brunette maintains a thoughtful silence while the MC freaks out in the background. Left behind, the kid deeply regrets the gigantic mess that just happened. Lamenting his bad luck, the boy complains that he didn't find out anything useful and still managed to cause a problem. Blaming the chubby guy's big mouth, he mentally swears revenge for the nonsense spoken in the hallway. Almost at the school door, a familiar scream gets his attention, cutting through the mood of defeat. With a sly smile, the brunette appears beside him, wanting to know if the gossip about her was juicy. Jumping with a start, the poor guy stutters and tries to explain himself at the speed of light. With no patience for more lies, he takes a deep breath and tries to come up with a decent answer. Letting out a sweet giggle, the girl breaks the ice, showing she didn't take any of it seriously. Relieved, the boy swears on his life that he wasn't talking bad about her behind her back at all. Confirming the theory, the hottie says she already figured it was all her lazy friend's invention. Drastically changing the subject, she drops the bomb and demands the boy walk her home again. Just thinking about the gigantic hill on the way, the hero already starts to sweat nervously. In the back of his mind, the gym bro pokes his conscience, reminding him that he was, in fact, talking about her in secret. Trying to keep the peace, the MC mentally agrees that it's better to keep the investigation under wraps. Sighing heavily, the kid accepts his fate and prepares for another round of physical torture. Arriving at the foot of the hill, the brunette stops in her tracks, staring at the climb with the utmost laziness. Using her imaginary illness card, she swears she's going to faint if she tries to climb that thing alone. Inventing new symptoms, the hottie lists a headache and shortness of breath as perfect excuses. Being all dramatic, she turns her back and tells the boy to push her up the hill. Totally confused, the hero questions the bizarre order while the girl rushes the poor guy. With all the care in the world, he places his hands on her back to start the push. Taking the first step, the hottie immediately approves of the method and says the climb just got a lot easier. Feeling the boy's hands on her back, she lets out a little giggle and says it tickles. In a super weird moment, the brunette confesses to being sensitive to touch while the kid is frying with embarrassment. Realizing the danger of the situation, the MC mentally begs for her to stop with these double-meaning jokes. Red as a tomato, his brain already starts working on dangerous theories. Freely daydreaming, the kid imagines a future where the two are intimate enough for playful banter. In his mental trip, he sees himself carrying the hottie on his back like a true Prince Charming. Clapping, his gym bro partner approves of the delusion and praises the romanticism of the scene. Accepting the madness, the boy agrees that dreaming doesn't cost anything, as long as he doesn't lose control. Back to reality, a desperate scream calling his name bursts the illusion bubble. In a panic, the brunette complains that he's pushing too fast and that she's going to end up face-planting. Waking up to reality, the kid breaks immediately, apologizing for the sudden jolt. Almost out of breath, the girl leans on her knee, trying to catch her breath after the rush up the hill. Admiring the city view from the top of the hill, the boy comments on how beautiful the place is. Noticing the scenery for the first time, the MC is shocked by the beauty of the sunset from up there. Being honest, he confesses he had no idea there was such a cool viewpoint so close to his house. Agreeing about being tired, the hottie grumbles that all this beauty isn't worth it for someone with fake anemia. In a playful tone, she threatens the boy, complaining about the extreme exhaustion the forced climb caused. Falling silent for a moment, the two stand side by side, just enjoying the evening breeze. Turning to face him, the brunette cracks a smile and says she'll forgive today's slip-up just because of the view. Captivated by the moment, the hottie agrees that the place is truly beautiful to see. Observing her smile, the hero remembers the chubby guy's sinister warning about the weird aura. In doubt, the kid wonders if not being able to see any flaws in her also counts as something strange. Cutting the silence, he decides to come clean once and for all, calling the girl by her name. Straight to the point, the boy confesses that he did talk to her friend earlier at school. Freezing on the spot, the brunette asks in a dangerous tone if he was really talking bad about her. Desperate, the MC denies it with all his might and tries to explain that it was nothing like that. Opening his heart, the poor guy reveals that he just wanted to know more about her life, and that's why he struck up a conversation. Stuttering a lot, he tries to clear his name, justifying that the gossip unintentionally snowballed. With his face on fire, the hero begs her not to misunderstand the true intention of their conversation in the hallway. Silently, the hottie stares at the kid, leaving a heavy, suspenseful mood in the air. In a total icebreaker, she flashes a gentle smile and tells him to relax because she's already forgotten all about it. Sighing in relief, the boy confirms if everything is really okay, while the brunette is already calling for them to go down the hill. Worried about her fragile health, the MC asks if the descent will be okay and gets a super enthusiastic yes. In a quick goodbye, the girl thanks him from a distance for the detour and the escort, leaving our hero planted on the street. Completely speechless, the kid summons the gym bro from his mind, urgently needing a second opinion on the scene. Sitting with a master's pose, the imaginary big guy gets real, saying the hottie's reaction was impossible to decipher. Straight up, his partner questions if all that honesty was really necessary, confessing about the gossip thing. In an advisory tone, the muscle-bound dude explains that sometimes, keeping your mouth shut avoids a lot more headaches. As the girl walks down the hill alone, our little MC fries his brain cells trying to guess what's going through her head. With a dorky look on his face while staring at the sunset, he admits to himself that his only intention was to find out more about the hottie's life. Far away, the brunette walks with a little smile on her face, amused by the boy's direct and unpredictable nature. But the charm wears off quickly and she faceplants on the ground, completely out of breath, proving that exhaustion took its toll. To top it off, her mind pulls up a bizarre memory of the chubby guy threatening to skin a classmate alive over a piece of bread, proving their crazy friendship.